Hello, my name is Ava Wall, and today I will be talking about social media and technology. We live in a time where technology and social media have a heavy influence on society. The University of Tennessee at Knoxville released an article in June 2025 titled "Looking Back on a Decade of Social Media," and this reflects the advancements and history of social media, and it highlights how the first form of social media we got was in 1997, and then from then, in the early 2000 and 2010s era, we saw things like MySpace, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn, all of those apps that we're very familiar with. And so from that, we see that we have had many advancements in social media as well as technology. And so although there are many positives to technology and social media, there are also negative impacts. So I encourage us as a society, especially younger generations, let's reduce the amount of time we spend on social media and our reliance on technology. Let's be intentional about the time that we spend on it, and let's be aware of ourselves and our surroundings. As we can tell, there are a variety of platforms available, and each platform attracts its own demographic. Like I said, we're easily attracted to social media, and it's easy to get caught up in it. And so, as I mentioned, each platform has its own demographic of users that everyone, just certain age groups, decides to go on, and it's just more attractive to them. And so Pew Research Center is a nonpartisan fact tank that conducts surveys on people, performs research and experiments to inform the public about trends that relate to the world. One of the studies published in August 2022, titled Teens, Social Media and Technology 2022, details a variety of social media platforms and categorizes the demographics of each of those platforms' users. And so we see in the chart that YouTube is the largest demographic range, and we see TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat are widely used by the female teenagers, which in this study they categorize teenagers as 13 to 17-year-olds. And so TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat are used by female teenagers, and Twitch and Reddit are mainly used by male teenage audience. Another study by Pew Research Center in November 2024 called Social Media Fact Sheet supports the previous slide. It also broadens the scope beyond the previous chart, which the previous one showed teenagers ages 13 to 17 years old. Here we see the ages of 18 to 65 and older. So we still see that YouTube is the most popular and has the greatest range of variety of users. And so we also see that as the ages increase, the users decrease. And we see that women are most likely to use social media. Since we see that a lot of the users are younger generations, it's very important for us to consider their data and survey them. Teen Social Media and Technology 2022 reports that 54%, which is over half of teenagers, again 13 to 17-year-olds, say it would be very difficult to give up social media. It also shows us that approximately 1 in 5 teenagers use YouTube constantly. Now that we have seen how various demographics and social media platforms relate to each other, let's talk about how social media negatively impacts an individual person. We must understand the drawbacks of social media and be cautious of how much time we spend on it and how it affects us as an individual. UC Davis wrote Social Media's Impact on our Mental Health and Tips to Use It Safely in May 2024. And it was medically reviewed by Don Bowens, who has a PhD. They explain how social media how social media causes the brain to release dopamine, which is the hormone that makes us feel happy. And so as a result, we are attracted to social media, and because of the release of dopamine, we kind of get addicted to it, as people often say. And so the article found that the average person spends 145 minutes on social media every day. It explores how it also invokes FOMO, which is fear of missing out, in people, because we see each other's posts, we'll see our family or our friends on a trip, and we feel excluded from that. And it points out how filters can cause misrepresentation of reality, and it can cause people to incorrectly view things a certain way. And also, unfortunately, we often look at things and we compare ourselves to other people. And so, because of these filters that people are putting on their posts, we often think we compare ourselves with them. And so, another thing that the article mentions is how cyberbullying negatively impacts someone's self-confidence and mental health. So not only does social media influence individuals, but it also influences those around the individuals. And we must be aware of our consequences of our actions, that posting a bad post will result in how other people will take it. And so earlier we had mentioned cyberbullying affecting others, individuals. And so how frequent does this occur? Well, according to Pew Research in December 2022, called Teens in Cyberbullying 2022, there were 46% of teenagers, again, ages of 13 to 17-year-olds, who report that they have experienced at least one of the categories of online harassment. Unfortunately, we also live in a world where drivers are on their phones texting or Snapchatting, and they're just on their phones and they're driving. And so Edgar Sender and Associates is a personal injury law firm, and they released an article of all the statistics, and they also gathered other sources to get these statistics. And so they stated how National Safety Council in 2023, National Safety Council reports approximately 1.6 million crashes are caused annually by drivers using cell phones and texting. And 39% of high school students surveyed admitted to texting or emailing while driving, and that was according to the CDC. In conclusion, technology and social media have both positive and negative opportunities. And it not only affects us as individuals, but also those around us. We are in an advancing society where technology has become very heavy for us, and it's advancing as well. And as I had said, it offers both positive and negative effects. It affects you, your mental health, and even others' well-being. So I encourage everyone, especially younger generations, let's be cognizant of the dangers of technology and social media. And I'm not saying that we need to eliminate social media completely. However, we need to reduce our time on it, and certainly not be on it while we're driving. And we must use social media for positive outcomes, like connecting with friends and family, and learning and staying informed in the community and other events. But let us be less reliant and dependent on technology and social media. Imagine how much more productive we would be if we reduced our time on social media. Thank you for listening.